You've probably heard the news that Joe Biden wants to raise your taxes, and he's got a new proposal out on 4 things he wants to do to make you pay more taxes when you sell an asset like real estate or stock or a business to pay more money to the IRS. Now, I'm gonna go over some strategies on how to minimize this tax today, how you can avoid paying capital gains tax when you buy or sell an asset. So let's go over what Joe Biden wants to do here, and then we're gonna get to the real strategies to save you on taxes right now. Okay, here's some of the things Joe Biden wants to do, and I think these are crazy. Not to be political here, I just don't love his tax policy. He wants to tax unrealized gains. Unrealized gains, he wants to tax you when the value of an asset goes up and you don't even sell it. You haven't even realized the gain. There's no money in your pocket yet. Real estate's gone up in value, your stock portfolio's gone up in value, your crypto's gone up in value, your business has gone up in value. He wants the IRS to be able to tax you on that before you've even sold it. Okay, that's the tax on unrealized gains. There is zero chance of that passing. I'm sorry. Don't be stressed about this. The likelihood of this thing passing is like 1%. It is very unlikely that that crazy idea will pass. The good news is there's some common sense in Washington, D.C. on tax policy, and I don't care if there's a Democrat-controlled House, Senate, and the White House, that just won't pass. Now, the next thing he wants to get rid of is the max long-term capital gain rate of 20%. He doesn't think that's enough. He wants to change the highest bracket for long-term capital gains when you own an asset for longer than a year to the ordinary income tax rates, which he wants to raise from 37 to 39%. So you'd have a 39% tax if you sold an asset for $1 million or more. And the last thing he wants to do is get rid of the 1031 exchange when you buy real estate and sell it for a gain and reinvest the money. That's an awesome tax strategy many of our real estate clients like to use, where they'll buy assets, let them appreciate in value, sell them, and buy a larger property, and they defer the gain as long as they're replacing the property. Biden wants to eliminate that only to $500,000 gains. You can only use the 1031 exchange up to a $500,000 gain. Now, in order to get this passed, what's gonna have to happen? Joe Biden reelected, Democrat-controlled Senate, which we already have. There was no way this would pass any Republican-controlled House or Senate, or of course, if any Republicans in the White House. So I think the likelihood of these policies passing is very low. In fact, these policies were in Build Back Better that had a Democrat-controlled White House, Senate, and House, and they couldn't even get it passed back then. So I think the likelihood of this stuff passing is low, but I want you to be aware of it and what's out there, because I want you to focus on tax planning opportunities today, and I want to give you the stuff that's in the law right now. I want you to know what is in the tax code that you can use to your advantage to minimize and pay zero capital gains tax when you sell an asset. Okay, let's hit a cool one that a lot of people actually don't talk about, which is the zero rate capital gains tax. There actually is a capital gains tax rate of 0% when you have up to $116,000 of income. So if your taxable income is below 116K, any capital gains you have, your capital gains rate for long-term gains, you've held assets over a year, is 0%. That's pretty freaking awesome. A lot of people in retirement, frankly, are using their taxable stock portfolios or other assets, and they're selling those and staying below the 116,000 married filing joint taxable income, where you get a 0% federal capital gains rate. Now, I want to give you an example how this zero capital gains rate could work for you. This is pretty freaking awesome. Let's say you have $80,000 of income. This is married filing joint. This is your income. Now, you get to take the standard deduction of $27,000. So if we reduce that by $27,000, that means I'm going to have $53,000 of taxable income. So if I have $53,000 of taxable income, I get to go up to $89,000 of income, and I will pay zero capital gains tax. So I have $36,000 here of capital gains that are long-term, you have to have these assets for over a year, that I can pay zero capital gains tax on. Now, a lot of retirees like to use this. They've left their day job, they don't have a paycheck coming in, and they might have some IRA distributions or maybe some Social Security or something, and they're maybe at the $80,000, they get the $20,000 standard deduction. They have another window here of $36,000 of gains that they can have by selling taxable stock portfolio, crypto, other assets, where you're gonna pay zero capital gains tax on that money. Now, you don't have to be in retirement here, it's just however the numbers work. As long as your total income is below $89,000, this is after all your deductions, whether you itemized or not, if you stay below that $89,000 married filing joint, you get zero capital gains rate. All right, the next one's for you real estate investors, and this is the one Joe Biden's trying to get rid of, or at least limit it, I should say, to only $500,000. This is the 1031 exchange. In the 1031 exchange, what happens is, if I sell a property with a gain, let's say I bought a property for $100K, and now it's appreciated in value to $1 million. Okay, and let's say this is a rental property. I've got a $900,000 gain that I will pay taxes on when I sell the property. Now, what you can do as a real estate investor is if I repurchase a property for greater or equal value of what what I sold. So if I buy a new property for $1 million, what's gonna happen here is now the new property, that's my cute little house there, the $900,000 gain gets rolled into the new property, no tax. This is tax deferral. The tax is getting deferred into the next property when I sell it. So when I sell this property, I will then pay the tax on that $900,000 capital gain plus any appreciation that I might have in this property. But I can do another 1031 into the next property. So this is a great tax strategy. A lot of real estate investors have used this to grow a real estate portfolio paying no tax by using the 1031 exchange strategy to build up and buy bigger, better properties, create more equity, and defer taxes to pay never. Now, this is one of the things actually Biden is trying to attack because he doesn't like this. The IRS doesn't like this, yet it's in the tax code. Congress has passed it, so they have to deal with it. They want to limit this 1031 to only $500K. It's not likely that that will pass, but that is what's on the plate. That's what's in Biden's policies right now. So use this strategy. Use this strategy to trade up and buy bigger, better properties and defer the capital gain into the next property. You can do this as many times as you want. You can 1031 100 times to grow and build your real estate portfolio. All right, now let's say you've built up that real estate portfolio. Or let's say you have a valuable business that's grown over the years. Now, Biden wants to tax that as this unrealized capital gain. Now, again, this is unlikely to pass. Now, as you've built up that real estate portfolio using the 1031 exchange strategy, or maybe you have a business that's grown and gone up in value, you are building assets. Now, I don't want you to sell those assets because when you sell the assets on their current tax code right now, that's when you realize a gain and you pay taxes. Instead, do what the wealthy do, okay? What did Jeff Bezos do? What does Warren Buffett do? What does Elon Musk do? They get obliterated for in the news about this because they strip out all of this equity in their assets that they have by taking debt against it. So if I'm Jeff Bezos and I got billions of dollars of Amazon stock, I'm not gonna sell that stock. I'm gonna have to pay taxes when I sell that stock. He's got huge built-in gains there. But if he takes a loan against the stock, instead he's getting out debt against the asset. A bank will lend against it because they know that asset is valuable. So they will lend him money. That debt is not income under our tax code. So he's able to monetize the value and the growth of his portfolio, his business, his stock, real estate, whatever asset it may be. But instead of selling it to get that money back out, you can take debt against it. This is what the wealthy do. And this is what Joe Biden is trying to shut down by doing this unrealized tax on appreciated assets. He wants to stop people from being able to take debt against a property or an asset and not pay tax. But what I'm telling you now, this is what's available to you in the tax code. This is what the wealthy do to access their wealth and pay zero tax. So for everyone out there, whether you have 10 zeros behind your name, 3, 6, I don't care how many zeros are behind your assets, you can use the same strategy to avoid paying capital gains taxes. Now make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I'm gonna be updating you on the policies and the things going out there that could affect you in your wealth building journey. But at the same time, I'm gonna give you the tips and strategies that you can do today, like we did in this video, to help you save taxes, protect your assets, and build your wealth. Now make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you next time.